Okay, so on this question, let me put in the walled separation here. So we have 4 minus u squared equals 9. So how do we solve an x squared or u squared or whatever with, well, in fact, let's say parentheses squared. How do we solve parentheses squared, no x to the first power? Now you might say, wait a minute, wait, we have this u here, or x or whatever, is a regular u to the first power. Well, not really. See, that 2 is on it. So that's really a u squared. Does that make sense? We really don't have x to the first power or u to the first power, whatever you call it. If we had 9u to the first power over here, that'd be a different kind of problem. And we'll do those later. But on this one, the only letter we have is under the influence of a 2 power. He's really a u squared. You see what I'm talking about? So we really have parentheses squared and no u to the first power. We don't really have a u to the first power anywhere. So what do we do? Step 1. Get the parentheses squared alone. It already is. So I'll say already alone. What I mean is if I had like a 2 here, then I would divide by 2 on both sides to get rid of that. Or if I had a 7 added, I would subtract 7 both sides to get rid of that. You know, if I had something outside of the square root so that it wasn't alone, I would first, outside of the parentheses, I would do that. You know, if I had like a 2 added here, it was 2 plus the parentheses squared, I would subtract 2 from both sides to get rid of that first and get the parentheses squared alone. So the first thing you do is get the parentheses squared alone, but this one already is alone. Okay, so then we just move right on. Step 2, root and plus or minus root over the sides. So I'm going to bring this down. And I'm going to put square root, and plus or minus. And the root cancels the square right there, because square roots are the opposite of second powers. So what becomes of it? Now, plus or minus 9. No, sorry, square root of 9. That's plus or minus 3. We can do the square root of 9, so we just do it. It's clean, right? Square root of 9 is 3. Now, the plus or minus still stays there. The plus or minus is necessary. Everybody see what I'm saying? You've got to have the plus or minus. That's very important. That remember my dorky saying, when you put a roof on the house, my square root's kind of like a little roof. You got to go up and down. Plus is up, minus is down the ladder. It's a dorky saying. I hope it helps you though. When you put a roof on your house, you've got to go up and down ladder. When you put a root on both sides, you've got to do plus or minus. You got to do up and down. Okay, now this is weird. What do we do now? Now break or make 2 equations. Make 2 equations. What am I talking about? We have plus and we have minus. So we're going to have 4 minus u is plus 3, or 4 minus u is minus 3. We have 2 separate equations for the plus and the minus, right? Everybody with me? Let me put that back in the right color. Two separate equations. And then we just solve both of them. So here's the wall, here's the wall. 2 separate equations. And you know the drill at this point, right? U is saying, I want to be alone, so I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides over here. Boom, boom. Now careful, careful, careful. This is minus u. That minus is still on the u. It belongs to him, right? And now what do we do to use not alone yet? You still saying, I want to be alone. Get rid of this minus. That's really a -1, isn't it? Remember when there's no number in front of X or U or whatever? It really means there's a 1 there. So a minus in front really means a -1. So how do you get rid of that? Divide by -1. Right? You don't add 1. That -1 is not subtracted. It's times, right? That -1 is right next to the U with no symbol in between. It's not added or subtracted. It's times. So you got to get rid of it by dividing. And that comes out +1 because 2 negatives make a positive, don't they? Did you follow those last couple of steps? That -1 is right next to the U with no symbol in between. So that's not added or subtracted, it's times. And the opposite of times is divide. And we have to get rid of that -1 because we're going to get U totally alone. Let's solve the other one now. Again, subtract. Whoops, let me go back to this other color. Let me just change it. My color here. Subtract 4 from both sides. And these cancel. We get minus U. And what is this? -3 minus 4? This is -7, isn't it? See how it's coming out a little different? And now, same thing. This is a -1 here, really. You've got to divide both sides by the -1. Cancels out. U's alone. 2 negatives. Make positive. So there's our 2 answers. 1 and 7. So you type both those in with a comma. 1, comma 7. Either or, you can put the 7 first and then the 1. It doesn't really matter. But we've got 2 actual answers to the problem. That's interesting. So let's recap. Make sure this problem is making sense for you. So what do you do when you have parentheses to the second power and you don't have the letter to the first power? Right? This letter, the only letter, is to the second power. So what you do is you get the parentheses squared alone, which we did, and then you put the root and the plus or minus root over the sides. It cancels the square. And then with the plus or minus 3, you have more work to do. Use not alone yet. You go ahead and make it 2 equations. Make it into 2 separate equations, one with the +3, one with the -3, right? For the plus and the minus. Then you just solve them both. Those are your 2 answers. By the way, can you see those answers are really right? Let me show you that. We're saying if we put in a 1 for U, we're saying that makes the equation true. You can see that, can't you? What would that be? 4 minus 1 squared is 9. Yeah, 3 squared indeed is 9. See how 1 works? See how 1 really makes the equation true? Is that too scribbly? Let me show you that again. Whoops. There we go. So yeah, can you see it's true? If you put in 1, you get 4 minus 1 squared is 9, which is 3 squared is 9. That's true. It makes it 3 squared is 9. See how 1 makes the equation true? Now, what about 7? Does 7 make the equation true also? It better. Put in 7. We're saying U, right? U can be 1 or U can be 7. If U is 7, what do you get? 4 minus 7 squared is 9, which is what? -3 squared is -3. Yeah. -3 times -3, that is 9. It's true. Look at that. It's beautiful, isn't it? 1 and 7 are the 2 numbers that will make that equation true. How did we do that? Well, we used logic. The power of logic. Logical steps led us to those 2 answers, which are really true. We can see they are right. There we go.